Hi, I'm Tracy Bevington. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and the owner and founder of a group practice called Pacific Marriage and Family Therapy Network. We have 15 clinicians and 3 locations to serve you. We're in Sherman Oaks, Santa Monica, and Manhattan Beach. For today's Facebook Live presentation, I'd like to discuss the difference between love and lust, and how that's related to dating in LA or kind of finding a partner. If you're joining us for the very first time, please let me know in the comments who you are and where you're joining us from. If you have any questions or concerns or anything you want clarification on, please make sure to leave a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you would like to join our newsletter or our mailing list, you'll see a link at the top of the page. If you would click there, you can get onto our mailing list. And also at the top of the page is a link if you're interested in contacting us. So let's get started. First, I want to talk about how do you know the difference between love and lust? They're actually very closely related. There's not a lot of difference if you just kind of look at it from a general perspective. Sometimes it's really hard to tell because what happens often is our idea of what love is gets convoluted by media. So when I think about love, I think about having a very strong attraction and a very strong affection towards someone. When I think of lust, I think of more of a physical reaction. It's like a really strong or intense physical reaction to being around someone. Sometimes at the beginning of a relationship, when you're dating or when you first meet, there's a lot of lust because you don't really know each other. And so to really figure out if you are emotionally attracted to someone, it takes some time to figure that out. But having a strong physical connection could be a really good thing too. So having love and lust is a real bonus, but sometimes that doesn't happen. The other thing is relationships, long-term relationships, don't often last when it's based solely on lust, because unfortunately, as we grow older, our appearance changes, sometimes our views on life change, and so we can, through time, become less physically attractive to our partner. So if our relationship is built solely on lust, then it can fizzle out. And oftentimes that fizzle out happens within the first, 3 to 5 years of a relationship, sometimes sooner. So understanding the difference between having love for someone and having lust for someone can be really helpful at the beginning of a relationship. Excuse me. It's going to help you decide if this is a relationship to stick with or if it's something that is kind of fleeting and fun and you take it as it is, but you don't necessarily invest 100% into. So what is the difference to you? Because sometimes the difference to an individual person is, it's a personal thing. If I decide, oh, that relationship you're in, that just seems lustful, that's just from my perspective. Maybe there is a lot of love, attraction, and affection in the relationship that I just don't see. So it's really up to you. This is your choice and it's your life. So in order to make a good choice for yourself, think about whether or not you're in love or if this is something else. I had mentioned earlier that when love is portrayed in the media, it really kind of messes things up for us. Love in the media, meaning movies, books, newspapers, any kind of social media, advertisements, the love that is portrayed is often lustful and it's unrealistic. So love gets highly romanticized into this fantasy that it's really unobtainable. To have the level of love that is portrayed in the movies or that is portrayed through books, a lot of times it's just not real. It's unobtainable. It's not sustainable. You can have moments in a relationship where you have pure and ideal kind of fantasy love. Absolutely. But to have that every day, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year after year after year after year, it's not realistic. So when you're deciding to date and you're trying to figure out who you want your partner to be, understanding what your definition of love is and what you expect from your partner is super important. I can think of a really great example of a movie that has ruined the concept of love for many, many people. It's an older movie, so some of you might not be familiar with it, but if you're around my age, you're going to say, oh yeah. And this movie is called Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman is a movie starring Richard Gere and Julia Roberts. And Richard Gere is this bajillionaire, and he finds Julia Roberts, who is a prostitute, and he takes her in and he buys her anything she wants. He takes her to these amazing places. He can do no wrong. He brings flowers when he's supposed to have flowers. He has dinner set up just perfectly. He says all the right things. And Julia Roberts is swept off her feet. He is the complete knight in shining armor. So when that is put out into the world as, well, this is love or this is real, that really makes it tough for the rest of us. Because if I go through my life thinking, love is like what Julia Roberts got from Richard Gere, I'm going to be forever disappointed. And I may overlook a really wonderful opportunity to be with someone that actually loves me and that I actually love, but it's not exactly like Richard Gere and Julia Roberts, so I'm going to pass. Or we decide, I think this guy could be my Richard Gere, and I'll make him be that. He will grow and develop into my Richard Gere. That also is not a great way to go. Love is organic. Love is not something you can force. It's not something that you can push along. It's organic. It just happens when it happens. So when you're dating, think about being patient. Think about, well, let's think about several things. What does love mean to me? How do I know when I am loved? Have I ever been loved in my life? Do I even know what it means to be loved? Where am I getting my definition of love? Is it from Pretty Woman? Is it from some other kind of media? Or is it from what I witnessed in my household, in my own family, between my parents or my grandparents or siblings? Do I feel safe with this person? Feeling safe with someone is a huge component of being in love. If you can feel safe and vulnerable with someone and not ever worry about feeling scared, worried, treated poorly, heaven forbid, abused. That could be a loving relationship. Also, can I rely on this person for support? Sometimes people say, oh, I have your back, don't worry, everything's good. But the reality is, they're just not there. And then asking yourself, am I being challenged to grow in this relationship? Is my partner helping me to be the best me possible? If you can answer most of or all of these questions with, yeah, I think this person meets all of those qualifications, then that could be a very loving relationship. You can almost always create lust in a relationship. That's something you can actually create. It's really hard to just muster up love. It has to come from your heart. It has to come from you as a being for it to be authentic and for it to be felt by the other person. Excuse me. So, in closing, I'd like to encourage everyone out there that's dating in LA, or maybe you're already in a relationship and you're kind of reevaluating it, to think about the difference between love and lust, to think about what love really means to you, and try to tease out lust as one of the defining factors in whether or not you stay in relationship with this particular person. I think that with more people being mindful and aware of what they want and what their needs are, dating in LA can be a lot easier than it's been. Once again, I'm Tracy Bevington. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and the owner and founder of Pacific Marriage and Family Therapy Network. If you have any questions or comments at all, please leave them in the comments section. If you'd like to join our newsletter, please see the link at the top of the page. If you'd like to contact us, there's also a link at the top of the page. This Facebook Live presentation was on Love and Lust, Dating in LA. And next Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific will be our next Facebook Live, where we will be discussing being in a long-term relationship. What makes long-term relationships successful? Thank you very much. See you next week, Thursday, 1 p.m. Pacific.